Hello everyone, today's video will be an explanation of the Swordia Path. So just sit back, relax and enjoy. I will be talking about Swordia Cultivation, the equipment of Swordia, its abilities, an interesting new feature called Esotability. Then I will give you guys some advice for how to play as Swordia. With the updates to the game coming on the 7th of August, one of the new things that will be added is the Swordia Path. For new players making their character, Swordia can be unlocked immediately. However, if you are already at Virtuoso and above, you need to reach Voidbreak for both Magicka and Corporea in order to unlock Swordia as a cultivation path. Swordia is categorized as a physical path, sharing this category with Corporea. And like Corporea, Swordia mainly gives HP and P attack through cultivation, but breaking through these stages will give you a minor amount of MP for your current cultivation stage. Swordia shares cultivation powders and breakthrough powders with Corporea. However, at a later date, there will be a different breakthrough pill for Swordia. Currently, in relation to cultivation, only the elixirs between the two pairs are different. Corporea has powders, while Swordia has grit. Swordia can use Corporea's three main gears: sword, armor and bracelet. And Swordia can use Corporea's seals, pagodas, chains and bells. And now comes the two brand new Swordia exclusive relics, the longsword and the great sword. I will take the time to go into great detail for these two relics. These relics need to be summoned first before it can be used. There are two ways to summon a flying sword: having it activated in your casting order or using an ability to summon them. When summoned, the flying swords will be floating next to your character. These two relics do passive damage to enemies every 3 seconds, and they will stay floating for an unlimited amount of time. The only way for them to disappear is to be hit with a control effect like paralysis or stun. As you can see here in the duel logs, once hit with a control effect, half of your flying swords will be gone. And they will need to be activated again for you to summon them once more. Here are the descriptions of the long sword and the great sword. If you want, you can pause the video and read through them, so that you can better understand what I am talking about. With these new relics, there are also new affixes to fit these relics. They are Blade Soul and Blade Glow. Blade Soul reduces the chances of you losing a flying sword when controlled. Blade Glow increases the attack frequency of your flying sword, resulting in that 3-second interval becoming less and thus increasing your damage per second. Swordia's abilities are very reliant on your flying sword relics. Every single one of Swordia's mortal world abilities uses, complements, or relies on flying sword relics in some way. Because of this fact, it is advised to equip as many flying sword relics as you can. Now let's talk about the abilities and the effects. Quick summon. There's quite a few abilities that give this effect. Instead of waiting for your relic's turn to be summoned through your casting order, this process is skipped as these abilities can summon your sword relics. This can allow you to save time and quickly reach an ideal state, to have as many sword relics doing passive damage as soon as possible. The best mortal world ability that uses quick summon is Sky Stealer. And with the introduction of Sky Stealer, I'll introduce another effect to you guys. Relic Cooldown. This effect decreases the cooldown time of your already used sword relics. This can be used in two different situations. The first is when you've lost half of your swords after being controlled through an effect like stun or paralysis. You can gain your combat power back much sooner since you can summon your relics back sooner as well. The second is after using an ability like Mirai Sword Peacebringer, you can have your relics return from cooldown much quicker to decrease that period of vulnerability. Wait a minute, vulnerability? Now then, with the appearance of Peacebringer, let me talk about the abilities that consumes your sword relics to produce an attack. By consumes, I mean your sword relics will no longer be active around your character. In exchange for a massive amount of damage, the Mirai Sword series consumes the existing sword relics around you. This will leave you in a vulnerable period where your main medium of attack is gone. A period where your opponent can easily beat you if your burst attack didn't win you the battle. So, it isn't advised to use these abilities. Mirai Sword Ballad is still acceptable though. Sword Control Haste. This effect increases the frequency of your sword relic's passive attacks, allowing you to do more damage in the same period of time than what you would have done without the effect. Shadow Strike is the only Mortal World ability that gives this effect. I've now briefly spoken about the Swordia abilities, and I hope that you guys can continue to explore and play around with them. Next up, Esotability. What is an Esotability? This is an exclusive passive ability that can be unlocked for each cultivation path. You need to reach Incarnation to unlock it. Currently, there are only 3 Esotabilities, and for you to use more than one, you will need to have that Esotability's cultivation path at the same stage as your main path. So, if you want to have Corpora and Swordia's Esotability unlocked, for example, then both of them need to be at the same stage after both have reached Incarnation. For example, both would need to be at Voidbreak. If Swordia is at Voidbreak while Corporea is at Incarnation, then Corporea's Esotability cannot be used. This applies to all the current cultivation paths. Let us now talk about the Esotability of Swordia, called Sword Rider. This ability can only be used in realms like farming maps, World Apex, Cultisect, and so on, unlike the Esotabilities of Magicka and Corporea, which can be used in PvP. Sword Rider cannot. The Esotability, Sword Rider, massively increases your movement speed for 10 seconds and is Swordia's replacement to Haste. While this Esotability is active, you cannot use any relics or abilities, but your sword relic's passive damage can be used. Being controlled will also remove you from the state, so be wary of that. Now, let me show you guys how the Esotability will look like once activated. With the final chapter of the video, I'll be giving you guys some advice and extra bits of information that you can use to better navigate the new Swordia Path. Relating to combat, Swordia has a higher ability casting range than Corporea, but it is lower than Magicka, so Swordia will have a better time manually fighting monsters and other players than Corporea. And I strongly advise Swordia players to equip at least one Magicka shield. This is absolutely necessary for your survivability, especially if you are planning on using an ability from the Mirai Sword series. What abilities should you equip? This, I believe, should be decided by yourself. Instead of copying what others say and do, have fun playing around. But I will suggest that you use Sky Stealer. Your second path, which you can pick upon reaching Virtuoso, should be Magicka. This is necessary so that you can unlock Magicka's shields and use them. Since, unlike before, you cannot unlock an ability of a given path without first reaching the required cultivation stage in that path. Once again, special thanks to these wonderful people